It's Friday, April 11th, and it's time for your weekly recap. Isaac from Facebook, how did you first start developing your character and persona when you first got into Magic? When I first got into Magic, I didn't pay any attention to my character whatsoever. I was a little kid, and so it wasn't until I was older that I realized that that was a really useful tool to get people more interested in my show. When I finally decided that I was going to really develop my character, I took a lot of acting and improv classes, and that really opened me up and helped me with the idea of playing with a character, and I think play is really important with developing a character for Magic. James, what is the best way to match your outfit / costume to your character? I think this is a two-way street. You can kind of decide, oh, my character would get dressed this way and sort of try things on and see if it fits the character that you have in mind. The other way of looking at it, and the way sort of weirder characters that I've come up with, like Terry Wrinkle-Noggin, that kind of stuff, it was heavily influenced by the outfit that I put on. So I put something on, I looked in the mirror and try and decide what kind of voice, what kind of attitude this character has. It's a two-way street. You can do it one way or the other way, or sort of a mixture of both. Logan Magic 98, how do you get people to like you as a magician? This is a tough question because I've seen a lot of magicians who are just jerks to their audience get so much attention and love from the audience. So it's not about being a likable person at all. It's more about being genuine and 100% with whatever character you decide to go with. A good example of this is if you look at Miranda Sings. She's not really a magician, but I know her really well, and you can check out her videos on YouTube. She is bad at everything, and she's super cocky, and she's really rude to audience members when they come up to help her. She's just like a horrible person, but audiences eat her up and love everything that she does because Colleen, when she's being Miranda, she is 100% Miranda. Like, she knows that character inside and out, and she is genuine with that character. And I think that is a big part of it, is just being genuine as the character that you're being. Koru, how much of your own personality do you put into your character when developing it? I know that there are people like Gazo whose character is nothing like them. Thanks. It's a case-by-case basis. For me, at this point, a lot of myself is in my character, and I like it that way. I like having people kind of associate me with the magic and who I really am. But for a while I was being these big crazy characters that were totally different. So it really depends on the type of show that you're doing and what you're comfortable revealing to your audience. Dean, hey Chris, I'm 15 years old and I want my character to just be me, but how do I get people to take me seriously at such a young age? And at what age did you start performing on the streets? I was about 14, 15, somewhere in there when I first started doing magic out on the streets, and I thought it was a huge advantage because I acted older than I was, and I had confidence, and I was doing this thing that people could tell took me a long time to master. And because I was so young, they were really interested in me. That makes you really interesting. When you do something that takes a lot of patience and practice at a young age, people tend to pay attention. So I don't think you're gonna have any problem being yourself and doing magic at this young age. You can use your age as an advantage. This week I want to talk to you about Infallible by Mark Elston. This is a fantastic trick where you have a deck of cards that has numbers written on the back of every card. You deal out the cards, someone tells you when to stop at two different places. One you take the number from, the other you take a card from, and then you have a prediction. The main prediction they have in here is on a phone, on like a cell phone. It's a video of you taking out the card and showing it, or you could do it with an envelope or anything else. And it is infallible. It's totally spot on every single time. And the very cool thing about this is that if they go, let me see it again, you can instantly repeat it with the same deck, with a different outcome, and have a second prediction, which is totally 100% accurate. I highly recommend you check out Infallible at magicgeek.com today. Ryan, hey Chris, what are some things you do to get the creative juices flowing? Also, how have you developed your character? What are some examples of how you put your personality into a trick to make it more original? Thanks, smiley face with a big nose. I think the main thing that helps me be creative, especially with inventing magic and routines, is Reading. Anytime that I read something, my brain is sort of making new connections that I hadn't made before, and it just starts me going down this path of like thinking things out and coming up with new things, especially when I read magic or really good literature, those two things. My characters really changed throughout the years. When I was in college, it was a much bigger character, more out there. Then I started working for Magic Geek. It got really awkward. I became this really awkward character. Now I'm sort of transitioning into more of a like dad figure, I guess, because people associate me with my kids and stuff like that. So it's always sort of developing and changing. And a great example of a way that I infused my character or my personality into a trick, recently I did a show where I did the floating table. And for me, ghosts or spirits lifting up the table just didn't work. Like, I wanted this illusion, I love this illusion, but I didn't feel like it fit me as a person to have spirits or ghosts lifting up the table. So what I did is I talked about being a dad, and I talked about reading to my kids every night, and one of my favorite stories that we've read together was Peter Pan. And so I had this whole tie-in to Peter Pan and having the audience think of a happy thought and having the table lift up to the music from Peter Pan. And it was just, it really worked well together. It's already a really strong illusion, but just having that background and having that personal touch to it really lifted it up to the next level, and that was the trick that everyone was talking about after the show. Umer, hey Chris, I have no proper style to my acts. How do you choose what kind of magician you are? Winky smiley face. Oh no, smiley face. I would suggest trying a bunch of different things. Make a decision and try that new thing out on an audience. I wouldn't try different things out on the same audience, but pick a character, stay with that character all the way through a performance. I highly suggest street performance because that's really a great way to have an audience and not have payment at stake or anything like that. You can just kind of use that audience to test something out, wipe the slate clean, and then start over again. But try something new every time you perform, and take notes afterward and try and develop whatever seems to be hitting the hardest, whatever seems to be working the best, and whatever feels the best to you as a performer. Mr. Gouge Basson, hey Chris, in my show there are parts when my character gets emotional and other parts when my character is happy and joking around. That's a big contrast. How do I combine them? That's an interesting question, and I think it's all based on the difference between your situation, your character, and your emotion. What you're describing in there is sort of emotions and feelings. Those things don't really have to do with your character. Your character is just the way you experience those things. So if your character is really happy and jovial and joking around during parts of the show, give them a reason to be that and have them experience that or portray that is in juxtaposition with your character. And then the same thing goes for the sad stuff. Give them a reason to be kind of sad or whatever it is, and have them experience it or express it through the character. Hope that makes sense. Getting into some weird stuff here. Eugene, hey Chris, how do I keep the box to my cards from getting ruined in my pocket? Please answer, smiley face. We actually have a bunch of different types of card protecting cases at Magic Geek, and I'll put some links to them in the info box down below, or if you're watching this on the Magic Geek blog, check out down below there for information on everything that I mentioned in this video. Joey, hey there Chris, so I hear you talk about character all the time on the recap, and I've always had this question, and now I can finally ask it. For me, when I perform, I just get really excited and just act like a more enthusiastic me. So is that a character? Or do you have to have a character that is completely different than you? I feel that would be weird, especially in front of my friends and family. Here's what I mean by character. When you're doing a magic show, you're doing a play, you're presenting something that is not real, it's a lie. Just like a play is a lie. Those actors on stage aren't actually from Shakespearean era doing, Romeo and Juliet. That's not real, that's a play. You're doing the same thing with a magic show. And you can play the part of yourself. That is totally fine, but you can't actually do magic. So having a character helps you understand why the magic is happening and how you're supposed to react to the magic and how you're supposed to control the magic as the person that you are. So you can totally be yourself and an amped up version of yourself as long as you're consistent through that and you have some sort of feeling and some sort of acting associated with the magic that's happening around you. Okay, last week was a lot of fun because a lot of you wrote lecture me in the comment section of your orders, and so I have a winner here. Let's see who it is. Jim Brown. Jim Brown, you're getting the free mini lecture from me, and we're going to do it again this week. So all you have to do is you place an order of any size at magicgeek.com, and then at the end of the order process, there's a little comments box where you can write a comment to the warehouse. Just write lecture me in there. Type it out, lecture me. Someone will be picked next week and you'll get a mini private lecture from me, and I will teach you a new unpublished magic trick for free. That's fun. It's good stuff. All right, that's all the time we have for this week. I want to thank you very much for watching the weekly recap. Don't forget to subscribe up there. Like down there if you're watching this on YouTube. Check out these other videos that we've got on the side. But first, before you go anywhere, I want you to write a comment down in the comment section down below and give me a question. Next week's topic is going to be card tricks. We've talked about them before, but I'm sure new questions have happened since then, popped into your mind. So type them out down below. Any question you have on card magic whatsoever, write it in the comment section down below, and it might end up on the next weekly recap. I'll see you next week.